Hello and welcome to segment addition. Today we're going to be looking at activity 4.1 in your Springboard book. We're starting on page 39. Trying to make these videos kind of uniform. They're coming from me, so I'll always put the activity that we're doing as well as the page number that we're looking at. And then down here at the bottom I have an email address in case something comes up or something doesn't make sense. You're welcome to send me questions, okay? So what we're going to be looking at is called the segment addition postulate. What a postulate is basically a rule that we don't stress too much as far as having to prove it. We just kind of accept that as true. A couple things that's going to go with this section. We're going to be looking at the idea that between any two given points on the line, there's a certain distance, and that distance is always positive. Okay, so there is no negative distance. Distance from my house to your house, let's say 5 miles, would be the same whether we go from my house to your house or from your house to my house. So keep in mind, distance is always going to be a positive number. So when we're measuring things, you're always going to get a positive answer. You're not going to be looking at two segments and go, oh, the segment's total is negative. So that doesn't happen. Okay, so it's going to be positive. So I'm going to run you through a real simple example. We're going to look at what's in the book, and then I'm going to give you a few to practice. Okay, so let's go with an example. I'm simply going to draw a segment up here, which you could do on your sheet of paper or you could do at home. Not a big deal, but we're going to draw a segment. So we're going to label our segment. We're going to put point A down here at this end. We're going to put point B at this end. All right, and then we're going to pick anywhere on this line, some random spot, hey, right there. And I'm going to put another point. I'm going to call that point P. Doesn't matter what the letter is, it's just signifying a point. Keep in mind from earlier in the summer, you learned that when you're labeling things, every point gets a capital letter, okay? And segments take 2 letters. So we're going to have 3 segments here. We have segment AP, we have segment AB, and we have segment PB, okay? And what we're going to look at is the idea that basically the parts equal the whole. That's the main idea of the segment addition postulate. And so we're going to look at how do we find how long are each of these segments. So we're going to look at how do we measure them, how do we combine them together. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a tape measure. Now, on a piece of paper, you would use a ruler, but I figured, hey, I got tape measure here, why not use tape measure? So I'm going to measure AP. AP is about 1 foot. So 12 inches, yeah, 12 inches is a foot. So I'm going to say this length is 12. Now, I'm going to measure this length over here. So P to B looks like about 26 inches. So P to B is 26 inches. Okay? And so if I wanted to know the whole thing, I would simply add those two together to get the whole length of 12 plus 26 is 38. Okay? And that's exactly what you're going to be doing in this section, at least in the beginning part of this section. And so this one would be 12. And this one would be, so AB would be the whole thing, that's actually 38. And then the smaller part was 26, okay? And so hopefully that makes sense. If you look in your book, on page 39, question number 1, I'm gonna kind of talk you through the answers to that one, make sure we're good before I cut you loose for question number 2. So question number 1, I measured, you're looking at DE. According to my ruler, was about 2.5 centimeters. And then EF was 5.8. So I had 2.5 for the short part, and then I had another longer part that was 5.8. All right, and this was D to E, and this was E to F. Okay, and it turns out when I put those two things together, I get the F, which would be 8.3. Okay, and that is number 1 on page 39. What I would like you to do now is I actually want you on your own take about 5 minutes, go through and do numbers 2 through 4. All right, good job, guys.